PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, or PUBG for short, has taken the gaming world by storm. With millions of players, it's safe to say the game is a hit. Whatever the reason you want to check out PUBG, we're glad you're here, because we have your PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds Level 1 Starter Guide. I'm your host, AlphaLance, here with the leaderboard, and you may soon realize that this game does not have a tutorial, so we're going to go over some basic tips to get you started. Just know you are twice as likely to be hit by lightning than to win your first game of PUBG. So let's try to catch lightning. To clarify, this is a beginner's guide. If you start to feel you know most of the tips in this guide, you can probably skip ahead to the Level 2 video, Improvement Guide, or a Level 3 Advanced Guide, which will be coming soon. But we highly recommend watching until the end. Maybe we cover something you didn't know, or at the very least you can go over the basics again. No harm in that, practice makes perfect after all. For now though, let's eject into this intro and get started. First and foremost, we'll go over the basics of the game. PUBG is all about being the last one standing in a game with up to 100 players. You can enter solo queue where every player is by themselves, or you can drop in with your friends in teams of 2 in duo, and teams of up to 4 in squad. You may want to convince a friend with a copy to play with you to point things out as you go along. You control your character with the typical A, W, S, D key bindings to move, use R to reload, your left mouse button to shoot, and your right mouse button to aim down the sights like most all other shooter games. You should also know the keys beneath them though. Your C key allows you to crouch, while your Z makes you go prone. Hitting the same key will make you stand up again. Your X key will tuck your gun, which will help you run faster and put up your dukes to punch. You'll probably notice that when you're in the lobby of a match, you'll be assaulted with various audio feeds. That's because Battlegrounds has a proximity-based voice chat system. This can be useful to overhear someone talking in a house that you're looting, but in the lobby it's mostly people blasting their favorite songs to try to troll players. You can disable and re-enable this with Control-T and Control-Y. Your F key is your general use key. It's the key you use to open doors, close doors, pick up loot, get into a car, and how to jump out of the plane at the beginning of each match. This is your captain speaking. We'd like to welcome you to Erangel. That's the name of this Soviet Union-inspired island you'll find yourself traversing, scavenging, and fighting to stay alive on. The map is absolutely massive, which means 3 things. 1, that there are tons of places to see and some you may never see. 2, that you'll be running a lot, and don't worry, your character doesn't have a stamina meter. And 3, some places are more popular than others. Anytime you give people options, there will be favorites. Fortunately, the game doesn't give you any distinction on the map about which areas grant better loot spawns, which has players in it, or where a circle is going to likely be. So here are a few notes to get you started. The most dense areas are typically the most popular, like Pochinki, because they have more buildings to loot and likelihood of vehicles. While stray houses can give you a safe place to land and loot with little to no company to, get your bearings. The 2 most popular areas for players to land are the military base for its higher spawn rate of high-level equipment, and the school. The school has a reputation which attracts players looking for fast-paced shootouts while scampering for first loots. While in the plane, you can place a marker on the map to help you orient yourself on your way down. Once you've ejected from the plane with the F key, as we went over previously, you'll free fall to the ground until you hit the white line and your parachute will automatically deploy. While in the air, you can use your movement controls as well as your mouse to direct your fall. A and D to help you move left and right respectively, and W to lean into where you are pointing. If you point out to the horizon, your character will travel farther, while pointing straight at the ground while holding W will make your character nosedive for maximum velocity. Obviously, getting to the ground as fast as possible is essential in getting what to keep that sweet, sweet loot. Your loot and you. Loot can be found in all manners of structures. Houses, garages, even little sheds, and on top of picnic tables. There are several house models and you'll soon start to recognize them and where their loots are in each house. Walk over to any pile and hit F to pick up an item. Or you can hit the tab or the I key for your inventory menu to pop up. This will show you what's on the ground in a nice orderly list where you can drag and drop specific items much easier. You'll find weapons, armor, medical supplies, ammo, and attachments. Oh, also clothes, but they're pointlessly cosmetic, so don't worry too much about them. Most of these items are pretty self-explanatory, so we'll jump to the attachments. Every gun in PUBG uses attachments. There are 5 potential attachment points on each gun: muzzle, lower rail, upper rail or scope, magazine, and stock. Guns will only take certain mods, and don't worry, you can't attach the wrong mod to a gun. with the exception that you can attach long-range scopes to a few guns that can't actually shoot that far. You can equip attachments to your guns by dragging them over to the appropriate slot or by right-clicking on the attachment in your inventory. You'll find attachments pretty regularly, and they can make a serious difference in a firefight, so be sure to upgrade your gun as you loot. Lastly, a few items that are more valuable than they may seem at first: energy drinks. These cans of Totally Not Red Bull give you a small boost, seen here above your health bar, which gives you temporary health regeneration. Painkillers do the same, giving a greater boost. Filling up this bar gives your character a speed boost as well. And last but definitely not least, we'd like to take a second to tell you about the glory of the pan. You may have already heard legends of this cast iron cooking utensil turned weapon, for not only is it a silly melee weapon, but it also counts as armor. The pan is a must grab if you spot one, for even while sitting on your back, a pan can absorb bullets aimed for your butt with a satisfying ping. It may not make sense, but it's a fun mechanic you'll appreciate every time you hear it when you're out in the field. East? Oh, I thought you said Weast. PUBG combats campers and keeping the game's intensity on the rise by slowly shrinking how much of the map is in play. You'll have to stay inside the blue circle or take an increasingly dangerous amount of damage as the game goes on. Sometimes you'll get lucky and land in the circle, while other games you'll find yourself on the exact opposite side of the island. When you find yourself having to travel, you'll have two modes of transportation: on foot and by automobile. Traveling on foot is both dangerous and more covert. You'll have to keep your eyes open and ears peeled for enemies and a gun at the ready, but if you stick to trees and tall grass, you can get around rather easily. You can also look over your shoulders while on foot by holding the Alt key. Automobiles can be found on the sides of roads and in garages and offer a much faster way to travel, but at the cost of notoriety. There are Dacias, which come in multiple colors and give moderate protection but have real trouble going uphill. Dune buggies are the opposite, with minimal protection but are excellent at all-terrain. The UAZ or UAZ Jeeps, which offer protection and all-terrain driving capabilities. And lastly, there are motorcycles. Motorcycles are the fastest vehicle in the game, but are obviously the most vulnerable. Aside from no side paneling to protect your squishy parts, the motorcycle is the only vehicle that you can be thrown from, resulting in injury or death. Be aware, unlike an death, and that's not how anyone wants to go out. Everyone wants to go out. At the top, you're likely to come across other players vying for your chicken dinner. It can be scary at first since this is your one life and you went through all this trouble to get here, but remember, they're coming from the same place. While armor is helpful in PUBG, it only helps you take a few more shots, so you can take an enemy down just as fast as they can take out you. The key is preparation and a cool head. Have the right gun out for the right situation, so when crossing a field, have your assault rifle at the ready. Medium range, versatile, whatever the situation calls for. Have it out, have it loaded, have it decked out in attachments, and have it on the proper firing mode. Most guns in PUBG have multiple firing modes. The options are single, burst, or auto-fire. Most guns have two of these, and some even have all three available. You can swap between them by hitting the B key. Sometimes you don't get to choose when a firefight begins, but when you do, make sure you have some plan of action. Try to get to high ground before engaging an enemy, or near some cover. Maybe throw a grenade first as an icebreaker. When playing with a squad, it's very important to let your teammates know where you see enemies. Make sure to call out better directions than left or in front of me. Each player has a compass at the top center of their screen, so instead try calling out east or my 315. This will help your teammates more quickly find targets to either help take down or know which directions to take cover from. When, or if, rather, you survive your clash, you'll most likely need to heal up. There are several medical items that'll help you return your precious life force. Medkits are the rarest item and will return you to 100% health with the longest application time. The fast heal may be appealing, but if you have the time to slowly heal up, it's better in the long run to save those precious medkits for later. First aid kits will bring you up to 75% health slightly faster and are much more plentiful. Always try to have a few of these in your pack, as these kits will save your pan covered behind so many times you'll lose count. Next are bandages. They're the most common health item in the game, but also the least powerful. They cause you to regenerate a small portion of your health to a maximum of 75% in 5 clicks when used. Do not spam these, as they take a few seconds to reach full healing capacity rather than instantaneous like the kits do. When applying a bandage, wait for the third click to start applying the next one. By the time you've applied the second bandage, the first bandage will finish its regeneration. It may seem like a good idea to spam bandages, but it will cost you more bandages to recover the same amount of health. Last are the consumables: energy drinks, painkillers, and adrenaline shots. These will give you a slight regeneration and are the only way to get back to maximum health aside from medkits. In some way, these are more important than bandages. Learn the hotkeys for your medical items. When every second matters, you won't want to take the time to pull up your inventory and select which item to use. By hitting keys 7 through 0 on your keyboard, you can quickly use your medical supplies. 7 will use a medkit, 8 will use a first aid kit, 9 uses a bandage, and 0 will use your best boost item. Painkillers will be used before energy drinks, and adrenaline shots will be used before painkillers. But those can be only found in care packages. It's like Black Friday shopping, but with guns. Occasionally throughout the match, you'll hear a plane go overhead, just like the one that dropped you off. It will fly across the map and drop a slow descending care package, or loot crate, for all to see. Inside these sought-after red crates are some of the best guns, armor, and equipment, some of which are exclusive to drops. The obvious advantage of better equipment can be highly rewarding, but because of this, players may swarm a crate or camp nearby to shoot would-be looters. They can be worth checking out, but weigh your options and check your own equipment. Sometimes crates are just not worth it, as better equipment is not a guaranteed win, but it just might help you get into the top 20. You can almost smell that chicken dinner. Congratulations! For one reason or another, you have beaten out 70 to 80 other players in your match. The circle is starting to get claustrophobic as we move into overtime, and you know players could be behind every tree. No matter what happens here, you should be proud. Lots of players wish they were in your shoes right now. At this point, you should have some good equipment, all the ammo you need, and some medical supplies. Remember to play it safe and play it smart. You want to be safe from at least one side to narrow down where your enemies might be, and don't reveal yourself without good cause. Sure, a kill lowers the amount of enemies and raises your rank, but you only have to kill one person to be the last one standing when you think about it. There's a million different ways a Battleground match can go, and a million ways to die. But that's what's great about this game. No two matches feel the same, and maybe next time the RNG gods will reward you with a silencer for your favorite gun. Or maybe they'll punish you with nothing but crossbows and level 1 helmets. The only way to know is to ready up. That's all for our level 1 starter guide for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Are there any tips we missed that you wish someone had pointed out to you when you started? Have you won any chicken dinners yet? Tell us below in the comments. We'd love to hear it. Once again, I'm AlphaLance with The Leaderboard, your home for videos on your favorite series. And we've got more videos dropping every week, so be sure to subscribe. And hit that bell icon to become a part of the notification squad.